War destroys everything we value, everything we cherish. It is the enemy of hope and the herald of despair. It turns our youth into killers, our mothers into widows, and our children into orphans. It kills our future with its bullets, and it plunders all our dreams. For if we are to triumph in our struggle for a just and prosperous continent, we must unite against the forces that divide us. We must put an end to war. The Center for Conflict Resolution is committed to a vision of peace on our troubled continent. And today, more than ever before, we are uniquely poised to help bring to the people of Africa a lasting and sustainable peace. Ours is a vision backed up by a unique combination of resources and knowledge. A rare combination of practical skill and academic rigor, of energy and conviction, born of 40 years in the field of conflict resolution, of working tirelessly for an end to conflict, involving preeminent scholars like Dr. Ali Mazrui, Director of the Institute of Global Cultural Studies in New York, and Professor Adebayo Adedeji, Head of the African Center for Development and Strategic Studies in Nigeria. The center offers a range of practical skills backed by a solid and academically cutting-edge contribution to peace studies.
Few other organizations in Africa have solid expertise in and synergistically combine training, capacity building, and policy development and research. We're a uniquely Pan-African organization that can be placed at the service of the continent.
The Center for Conflict Resolution, which is observing its 40th anniversary, in my judgment, is the premier research institution for conflict in Africa. It has been a privilege to work with global research organizations, and I've been very much impressed by the quality of the researchers, of the staff, and its director, and I have no doubt that they will continue to make substantive contribution to conflict resolution in Africa.
Closely affiliated with the University of Cape Town, the center received global recognition when it was ranked the leading think tank in Africa by the University of Pennsylvania's International Think Tank Survey. The center has two programs, the Africa Program and the National Program. The Africa Program comprises the Policy Development and Research Project, referred to as PDR, and the Conflict Intervention and Peace Building Support Project, known as KIPS. The PDR project involves policy research on South Africa's role in Africa, the United Nations role in Africa, the African Union and New Partnership for Africa's Development, and HIV/AIDS and human security. Policy research seminars are a critical aspect of the work of the PDR. These seminars bring together experts and scholars from the continent and beyond. They provide a forum for critical debate and recommendations on CCR's key focus areas and work. CCR's book volumes receive extensive exposure each year when they are launched at the annual Cape Town Book Fair weekend, visited by up to 50,000 people.
CCR is one of the major think tanks in Africa. I think it's important for it to deal with these issues. Well, these are the issues that concern not only South Africans, but they also concern the entire continent.
The work of the KIPS cluster focuses on peace building through training and technical assistance. On the practical side, the focus is on the ground conflict intervention and peace-building support. And through its research and training work, the Center helps build the conflict management capacity of regional organizations, civil society organizations, governments, and the African Union.
For me, that is CCR's contribution. Above all else, it is to bring policy content to what is sometimes very esoteric topics. It is committed to saying we don't have the luxury of just engaging in academic exercises for the sake of it. We must seek to have policy impact and policy influence and make it easier for overstretched institutions and governments to do their work more effectively. I think that is the real niche and strength of CCR, and I think it should continue to do that.
The main focus of the national program is South Africa, where the Center's Mediation and Training Services project works to build conflict resolution capacity among key government and civil society organizations. The program undertakes conflict mediations and collaborates with the Africa program on its work in the Southern African region. Over the years, the Center has been deeply involved in issues relating to South Africa's transformation and has worked with the government to help transform South African prisons and train staff, inmates, and communities in new approaches to corrections. The Center was also contracted to mediate land and taxi disputes in the Western Cape. The Africa program and the national program are strongly supported by the communications and fundraising function and the Center's Peace Library, generating a range of publications, publicity, and other media to inform the public, government, academics, and civil society organizations about the work of the Center. By hosting a seminar series, we initiate and encourage public discourses on current policy and governance issues. The Peace Library is a specialist research library supporting the work of practitioners and researchers at CCR and is open to the public. At the heart of any organization is the welfare of its staff, and the Center's Human Resources Department is actively engaged in providing support to employees who come to us from all over Africa in support of the Center's Pan-African vision. Another key supporting role is that of the Finance Department, whose work underpins all the Center's programs and operations. Accountable to our people, accountable to our donors, accountable to the clients and the public, and accountable to our vision. The Center for Conflict Resolution achieves a rare balance of energy and optimism and knowledge and expertise, earning it an unrivaled reputation in its field. The Center for Conflict Resolution reaches out to communities, governments, and organizations who approach the Center for advice, understanding, and practical assistance in resolving the wars and conflicts that threaten the important gains being made in Africa. It has been truly said that peace is not simply the absence of conflict, but must be sustained in other important ways. Peace cannot take root where there is injustice. It cannot flourish where there is poverty and inequality. It cannot be sustained where human rights are ignored and trampled on. And it is our belief and fervent wish at the Center for Conflict Resolution that we can work with other organizations and governments to bring about real change on our troubled continent, and that we can play a real and constructive role in building peace for all its people. Robust, lasting, and sustainable peace.